So I'd like to start out with a question. Is there anyone in this room who doesn't agree that teaching students the fundamental value of how to agreeably disagree is one of the most important questions facing us today? If you do, what if I told you that there was an opportunity to give every student in your state access to a tool that does just that? Hypothetically, if that tool exists, each of you have the opportunity to give students the tools they so desperately need to do just that. My name's Olivia Gross, and that tool is high school law review. Now, I know what I just said raises a lot of important questions. And I'm here to tell you, it works. It is safe. It is effective. It knows no political party. And most importantly, and you can trust me on this one, it's fun for kids to use. That tool is called High School Law Review. High School Law Review is a core and supplementary curriculum and program that teaches students how to agreeably disagree through the study of constitutional law. There are a variety of ways that we are currently active in over 14 states in the country, whether that is as core curriculum, supplementary material and programming existing within the already required civics courses that I know you all are very familiar with being required in your states, and as an engaging and transformative skills-based program, because we all know, whether it's to prepare for college, the career, military, or Thanksgiving dinner, agreeable disagreement is a fundamental life skill. You might be thinking, okay, Olivia, that all sounds great, but how does this work? What does this look like in the school day? We are huge believers at High School Law Review that for too long, we have separated oratory from writing practice in the school day. We have taught students that they are either the future ed talk givers of the country, or they're the future journalists and authors. And I don't know about you, but I don't put on my writing versus thinking hat in my day-to-day. And so it is fundamental in our program that in High School Law Review, students are discussing, debating, presenting, and writing about the topics that they're organically learning about in this course, and then are asked to pick a topic that they themselves are most excited about, because we all know that young people learn best when they're giving an appropriate amount of autonomy in their learning, to realize that, wow, the First Amendment is really complicated, or wow, I didn't realize that that's how the Equal Protection Clause works. And if you have Jimmy, who's a student in Bismarck, North Dakota, who didn't realize that he finds the online forms of speech really fascinating, now Jimmy has the chance, through that organic exposure in our course and in our work, to take the civic knowledge that we're giving him and do something with it that actually gets him excited and makes him feel engaged. We then take all of our student work from all over the country, from Florida to California to Texas, and publish it on the High School Law Review platform. When we think about how agreeable disagreement is taking shape in this program, one of the most fundamental aspects of this work is that if we're in a moment where we want young people to understand what it means to agreeably disagree, we cannot sit them down and have more conversations about why agreeable disagreement is so important. We have to show them what it looks like and what it feels like to agreeably disagree. And there is no more beautiful, productive, and extraordinary vehicle for doing that work than constitutional law, the Supreme Court. What does it mean to respectfully dissent? Why do justices write dissenting opinions in our democracy? What does that represent as a through line throughout history and in this moment and going forward? And we believe, and we've found in this work, that constitutional law is an extraordinary and beautiful vehicle for doing the work we're all so desperately in need of. When we think about the moment we're in, related to agreeable disagreement, as I'm sure many of you can relate to, if you look at the awards on our local, state, and national stages for education, it's a lot of STEM. And don't get me wrong, for you STEM folks in the room, STEM is really important. But we're in a moment where we're asking young people to care about the country, to feel like they have a stake in our democracy, to agreeably disagree. Where do we reward that behavior? At High School Law Review, we're beginning to change that. When we think about what it means to really provide students with engaging forms of opportunity, it's one thing for us to give them civic knowledge, for them to now be constitutionally literate, for them to be excited about how our government works. But what exciting tools are we giving them? For, Shreya in Florida to be able to read what Sarah in North Carolina or Nui in Virginia, how these students are thinking differently about the same topics they're learning about in their classrooms. Because it's the year 2025, and it's time for us to give students the responsible opportunity to see how their peers from all over the country are thinking surprisingly differently, or maybe surprisingly similarly than them. When we think about the award mechanisms that we see on the national and state level stages, we have launched the National High School Law Review beginning this year that publishes the top students from all over the country who one day are going to be on college campuses next to each other, who one day are going to be potentially serving together. The opportunity to be published under one publication. We're thrilled that we have now launched official higher ed partnerships with universities all over the country, including my alma mater where fun goes to thrive, the University of Chicago. Those universities have committed up to $20,000 in merit-based scholarships for students who are published in this award. That's what we call rewarding young people for agreeably disagreeing. When we think about having young people understand the different stakes in their community, we have not just stopped there, but we have started to launch statewide, district-wide, and network-wide high school law reviews. Because we need students understanding, first, I'm a member of my school community. Let me learn to listen to the people in my school community. Next, I'm a member of my network. I'm a member of my local community. What does agreeable disagreement look like when I go from my classroom to suddenly maybe showing up for dinner at a restaurant in my local community where I hear something I don't really like? What does it look like to approach that conversation? Next, what does it look like to think on my state level what agreeable disagreement is going on in my state? And finally, thinking to the national stage, what does it look like to agreeably disagree with students my age all over the country? That is the work that we're thinking about. Specifically, some of you might have heard that the country's going to be throwing a party this summer for our 250th anniversary. Woo, yeah, we can get some cheer for that. Come on, woo, yeah, it's exciting. So we need a lot more excitement as a country about the 250th. And we're trying to create that at High School Law Review. And there are a lot of states thinking about it. But we need more than a party on July 4th. We need long-term solutions and investments in agreeable disagreement. And that is High School Law Review. When we partner with states, we are coming in as supplementary material within the already existing required civics courses taking place in states as either that civics capstone, that civics exam, that civics coursework, and then giving students the chance to engage in this work in a way that actually excites them. In addition, we've now officially partnered with states to launch statewide reviews. It is extraordinary, the work that has taken place over the last several 10 years for civics requirements to now exist across the country. That is a huge step. But now we have to ask, what exciting ways, what engaging ways are we giving young people to do this work in a way that gets them excited to engage in the country and be invested? High school law reviews invested in that work. We're thrilled to be working in 14 states across the country. We can all recognize the problem before us with the speech culture we're living in. I don't think I need to go on. But each of you have the opportunity to be a part of the solution. Each of you can give every student in your state access to a tool, a real tool, to teach them how to do this concept, to agreeably disagree. Because the future of our country isn't decided in Washington. It's decided and being shaped in your classrooms today. Thank you.